Well, I've heard stories of people in my family who were musicians, and I've met some of them who were musicians. So my influence, as most people are, is exposure to religion or religious meetings, not necessarily in the church, but you have people who used to just tie their heads and go out and beat the drum, and they have a kumina, you know. So people would, they call it pokomina. So people would just go out there and just have a time and listen to some kind of sermon from some people, you know. So I hear people from that context, and of course sometimes in the church as background, but I always had music and singing around me from a child. Well, my first meeting with Bob was in the year that he had the hit song going that it's called, I just hear the song coming over the radio. The people see me acting strange. They might say it's a burning shame. And I just got hooked on the song, and you know, I wanted to find the right of the song because this song was touching some chords in me, and you know, I loved it. One of my favorite hits at that time. So one day we met up on the streets of Duhaney Park as a child, a teenager. Well, we forged a friendship, a relationship, and you know, we were there. You know, day after day, I would be hanging out with Bob. At that time, growing up as a youth in the ghetto, you know, there are some aspirations and things that you like to achieve, but being held back by some, I don't know, systematic forces or whatever, you know. So um, we were to the point of reality, more than just listening to songs from the US and from Europe. We wanted something that could answer to some of our questions. And here comes people like Bob, who wrote these magnificent lyrics that it could explode in someone's head and, you know, transform them from a simpler child to a, you know, into something else. Well, he was one of the number one hit maker at Studio One. So his role was like seal, concrete, you know. But again, he was also a talent scout because he would get people like myself, you know, to be introduced to this college of music amongst these wise people, you know, and start a career, you know, in what we call music. Yeah, we had a varied amount of musicians passing through Studio One at any time, but the resident ones at the time was like, we had Phil Collins there, who was a drummer. We had Leroy Sibbles as a bassist. You had Robbie Lynn and Freighter, Eric Freighter was a magnificent guitarist, you know, that kind of sound that made and shaped Studio One into what it is. And also we had some people on horns, Vin Gordon and Hedley Bennett. These were prominent players at the time, right? And we had a brother who most people would not remember is Denzel Lang. He was a percussionist at the time, so all those little squeaking and those little tambourines and things you hear that was from that person. So I met a varied number of people, and you know, very thankful for that. I was always around Studio One, not as a fixture, but there whenever, you know, Bob was there, and he would take me in and introduce me to these people. And at the time, he was doing the song that's "I'm Going Home, First Thing Tomorrow," which was the lyrics of this song. And I think the title of the song is "Going Home." And this was one of the the last songs that he made at Studio One, and which was also a hit. You know, so he's always making hits. At the time, the United States didn't pick up on reggae that much, and I think more the British and in Europe, people were transcended, you know, on the idea of reggae music because this was a new music. It was music that it was virgin, you know, and people wanted new things. So the youth that were there at the time, they gravitated toward this kind of music, and you know, we here, knowing that, you know, it's like our aspirations was to get a hit in England, you know. I've been to Bob's concerts, and he's been to my concerts in Toronto. I can remember the last concert that he had there was at the Maple Leaf, and we had a concert downtown, and when he was done, he just came over to that one. And it was great, you know, it was great because the people loved him. We performed in Europe and in Jamaica. We performed in Switzerland and over in France on a few concerts together. Well, one of the stories that I remember vividly is um, Bob, every Sunday, he used to live like in Washington Gardens, he and Marcia. And every Sunday I would go over to his place and we would take a bus because at the time, you know, we weren't driving any car. And we would take a bus from Washington Gardens to a place called Beechwood Avenue in Jamaica where you had another musician by the name of Tyrone Evans, who used to sing with the Paragons. And he had this huge piano, and you would go there and see all kind of people there, just littering his place. You know, like I'm talking about professional people. You know, like you had Winston, Mr. Fixit, Winston Francis. You know, you'd see people of different, you know, genres. I wouldn't say genre, but different kind of tastes of music could drop by and do stuff, and you know, it was really cool. So that was one of my favorite memory. Well, we always in touch with each other over the years. You know, sometimes it's a little while, you know, this, and then we are on a regular basis, you know. But just how musicians work and how you work and where you work, you know. Well, Rasta is in everyone's life, you know, and it's not even a religion, you know. It's a spiritual awakening, you know, and it's just like when things happen, as I said, it's not coincidental because these things were planned long before we were here in the physical, you know. So when things happen, we don't take it as a surprise, and we always, you know, link on that basis and think at that thought, you know. So um, if you call that, if it's Rasta, you know, because that's how Rasta look at it, you know. So that's how we connected. And when you listen to even Bob's writing ability, you can hear that quality, you know, within, because the song is of consciousness. The song is something that any conscious person who listens to music would really, you know, caress, because this is something that is totally different from any little commercial thing that's out there. So he always excel in his music and his work in general.